So deep dive, abundance, day 4. And this day was not like any of the others, and it again wasn't what I was expecting. And I think this is part of my problem today, is that I had great expectations that I would feel amazing afterwards, and I would just be propelled on this path to push forward and keep learning and keep growing. And today feels kind of like wallowing in the pits, but not with my own despair, kind of with everybody else that's in this challenge. So there's over 600 of us, and Steve had even, as he goes through all of the chat and some of the emails that come through with what people are requesting and what they're struggling with and what's happening for them, some of the stuff that comes up is that, he's giving these kind of abstract and obscure ideas, and I personally, if I was to give my own 2 cents about it, which I am, it seems like they're so literal. Like this tool has to mean this, and I'm supposed to do this, this, and this. That's not what he's saying. It's this whole concept and idea, and you can take it and use it or not. You can run with it, you can push it to the max, you can, nibble on it for a little bit, whatever that looks like for you. Just like I'm interpreting it and doing the work and digging deep a little bit to see what this stuff means to me. And sometimes what his intention of it meaning and what I take from it are 2 different things, based on my own understanding of abundance, my own understanding of personal development, and based on my own experiences and what my context is, right? I can only do what makes sense for me in this exact moment. And I think a lot of people are so stuck in scarcity and so stuck period in their circumstances and in their shit situation that they cannot see the forest for the trees, and they're trying to grasp onto what Steve is saying and pull themselves out of the pit of despair. And I get it, because I was just there not that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that I was in the exact same boat where I'm like, hey, how do I get out of this? And every single time that I'm in it, it's really hard to figure out how to get out. And I feel like this whole day has just been like this sinking feeling of, what about these people? I wouldn't consider myself an empath per se. A lot of times I'm not perceptive as to what other people are feeling. I kind of block that. And some of that is because it affects me like this. Like, I've got a sinking feeling in my stomach, and I'm pretty sure it's not my own crap. There's a few things that are going on in my life, but this feeling right now is like, holy crap, like our group's progress has been kind of come to a screeching halt, in my opinion, because of this. And at first there was a bit of resentment from me that, you know what, I don't want these other people to slow down my own progress. But then I think about, again, what Steve was talking about today is, we're not just one person. We're not just looking out for ourselves and to hell with everybody else. We're part of humanity as a collective. So if we help and serve other people, that also brings us further into abundance and helps serve us as well. And it's all like at the same time. So today it's like, okay, I've got this sinking feeling. How could I possibly help somebody that is wallowing in their shit, cannot see a way out? What are some of the things that I've done? Having gone through it just recently, what did I do? And I think that's the key right there, is if it feels like you're up to your neck in shit, or you're buried in cement and you cannot get out, grasping at something else external to try and pull you out isn't the solution. It could lead to other circumstances. It can lead to more struggle. It could lead to more pain. Like, imagine and pretend you are buried with solid cement up to your neck. How the hell are you going to pull yourself out without being hurt or come out unscathed? Like, it's just not going to happen. That is going to be unbelievably painful. And here's the easier solution. And some people don't really think about this because they're so busy focused on the challenge, the problem, the circumstance, the cement. So in that circumstance, I choose to look for the glimmer of hope. When in the past have I been in a similar situation where I got out? And what did I do? What was the circumstance? How did this go from where I'm at to getting better? Because if this is as bad as it gets, if this is the bottom of the barrel, I am scraping the bottom of the barrel. It cannot get worse than this. What else can I do? What else, right? What else can I think? How can I get myself out of this? And I go back to the past. I mean, this is not the first time I've landed here. And what happened? Somebody threw me a bone. Somebody reminded me of how awesome I was. And that's usually what it sparks at, is it goes back to gratitude. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, gratitude. But even being grateful for the situation that I'm in, realizing that I'm not actually buried in cement. That's just in my head. That's not real. So if it's not real and it's just in my mind, what about thinking something different, and could that get me out of this? And it usually does. It's that spark of hope. It's that spark of, you know what, in the past, I just believed in myself and the circumstances shifted. And it's sometimes helping someone else, right? It's not about us. It's, okay, if I'm in this situation, how can I help somebody else? And before you know it, you look down and it's like, where'd the cement go? I don't feel like I'm buried anymore. And it's just like an instant shift. And some people are like, yeah, okay, whatever, Brandy, that's not exactly how it works. Sometimes it is. The other part of when you're wallowing in your shit and you cannot see a way out, it becomes not only what am I grateful for, but what is showing up, right? When I said to the universe before, you know, everything's falling through the cracks. Everything is, my classes are falling through. My bills are piling up. Like, what's the benefit in this? And that right there starts to ask and answer more questions. What's the benefit? There's got to be some good to the situation that I'm in. Otherwise it wouldn't be happening. So what's the benefit in being poor? What's the benefit in being, maybe it's being unloved. Maybe it's being fired from your job. Maybe it is a health concern. What's the benefit? What are you getting out of it? And sometimes the answer isn't always what we want to hear, but that's why they call it experiences happening to and through us, not just to us. Right? It's not out to punish us. It's not because we're bad and we're sinners and all of a sudden this is, you reap what you sow. That's not what we're talking about. For me, the benefit in being poor is realizing that it's just a figment of my imagination. Like, really, am I starving to death? Clearly not. I'm still driving a nice car. I mean, it's a 2014 Prius and it's still here. So even though I don't have enough money in my bank account to make the next payment, I'm confident it'll show up somehow. Right? I'm halfway to paying rent, so I have a roof over my head, and all of my basic needs, even though I'm not taking care of them personally, they are being taken care of. Somebody is taking care of me. I'm not going to die from this. And sometimes that's the glimmer. Also being willing to look at the shit, looking at, okay, what caused this? I'm obviously co-creating my life. What choices did I make that led me down this? And not looking at it from a blame perspective of picking up the whip and beating yourself to death. That's not going to solve a problem. But looking at it from, what did I do to create this? And could I have made a different choice? Sure. Always. There's always a different choice. And the next time this shows up, do I want to make a different choice? Do I want to get out of this? Am I willing to think differently in order to get out of this situation? Because that is often it. If you're sitting and finding yourself in a pile of shit, the shit that you've created, your situation, the way out is to go back down through it. And that sounds really backwards, but facing it, digging through it, seeing what comes up, and being able to look at it from a perspective of accountability and learning and appreciation of, you know what, I appreciate this lesson, and it's a lesson I don't want to repeat. It's a lesson that I'm going to help to, prevent for others by sharing this situation, just like I'm doing right now. Like, being poor is a choice, and it's not going to kill me. It's not going to happen forever. It will shift and change. I already feel it happening, but part of it is the vibration that we're carrying around. So if you're grasping at straws and having that, desperation and that neediness, nobody wants to hang around that. The universe doesn't want to help you add to that, it wants to help you move away from it. So what caused it in the first place, and how can you get yourself out of it? And it's often just willing to face your demons, and that can be painful. It can be heart-wrenching, and it can feel like you're going to die. I get it. It can be ridiculously emotional. I haven't cried so much as I have in the last couple of weeks, just at releasing some of it, releasing some of the, I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't just mean the pit of despair stuff. It's even when things are going right, this doesn't light me up. This activity that everybody else says I'm so good at doesn't light me up. It doesn't ignite a fire within me. So I don't want to do it anymore. I get that I'm good at it. I get that it's brought me money and there's a level of success there, but I'm a miserable human being right now and I don't want to do this anymore. So what else do I want to do? And that just opens up, holy shit. And before I know it, everything in front of me is a clean slate and I could do whatever I want. And now I'm in overwhelm of, holy fuck, I could do whatever I want. What do I want? And that right there can seem like, well, yeah, I don't want to be there either. But being in that state of what do I want is a hell of a lot better than feeling like you're neck deep in cement, like you're neck deep in shit, like you want to kill yourself because there's no reason to live. You know, whatever extreme that feels like for you, it's a hell of a lot better to be in what do I want to create for myself than wallowing in despair. And a conversation that I just had with a friend of mine, she's moving through the same situation of, I don't know what I want to create. I'm like, well, what don't you want? Maybe starting with some of the things that you know you don't want, just like for me, like maybe I don't want to teach classes anymore, or I teach very few of them. I restructure it so that it's more on my terms and for a structure that fits my life and my, fills my heart and soul more than just chasing a bank, you know, my bank account or chasing a paycheck, whatever that feels like. Try different things, be willing to explore and be willing to face what comes up, but in a, you know what, I'm going to really care for myself. I am going to love myself through this. And that can be really hard, especially when we feel like a worthless piece of shit, when we feel like we don't deserve it, when we feel like everything's against us and we are, you know, at odds with everybody and everything. I get that. So find one thing that you're really good at, one thing that you absolutely love, one thing that's worth living for and that's going right in your life, and work from there. And then as the things come up, letting go of the resistance. And here's the best part of it, when we surrender. When we were just, you know what, thank you so much for this opportunity and thank you for the lesson, and just surrender to it. And that feeling of despair starts to fade and it starts to dissolve. And then it's almost like the clouds part and there's sun again. And before you know it, you're not in any kind of shit. You're on a clean slate and you're on level ground and everything's an opportunity and a possibility again. It really does work like that.